This is the making of the strawberry journey. Hello, welcome to a new video. Thanks for being here. I've got a cute one for you today. I made this little artwork. I wanted to show you the process of the entire thing. I started off the morning by sitting down with my journal and writing some little lyrics or poetic lines. I really like making stories, really like writing stories. I used to do it so much before social media was really a huge thing in my life. And I want to kind of get back into doing it a little bit more in a more intentional way. So that morning that I made this, I sat down and started writing a little story about a bug who goes on a journey to gather up strawberries for their loved ones back home, and on the way gathering some bandmates with their little homemade instruments and stuff. I wasn't really intending that story to become the illustration for the month, but with all the imagery that was coming out, because I like to write with a lot of imagery and a lot of feelings and stuff, I thought I have to illustrate this because this is too cute. So yeah, I decided to give it a go and illustrate a little moment within the song. So that moment was when this little bug character was walking home from a big journey of gathering up some strawberries. So they've got a little basket made out of a walnut shell filled with little strawberries all balanced upon each other and tied to his back with a bit of string, his little mandolin and a little horn or a little trumpety thing or a bugle, and a couple of little friends joining him along his way. Yeah, just a sweet little thing. So here I am in my sketchbook drawing on a pre-blobbinated spread with my Sailor Feud fountain pen with some nice brown ink in it. I spent quite a bit of time just drawing and exploring and figuring out what my character looks like and what the characters around him look like and how to compose the illustration on the page and what to include, what not to include as well. My sketches do start off quite loose. Maybe there are some tighter elements, but I like to start quite loose because I really enjoy working in like a stream of consciousness style way. So I don't fully plan my drawings. I like to give myself some vague outlines, some vague boxes to work within. And then while I'm creating the final piece, I can sort of go off on little tangents here and there with choices, and maybe things change, and yeah, that sort of thing. So I used some watercolor paper for this one, and I grabbed out a Prismacolor pencil in this nice light green and vaguely sketched out some shapes using the sketches that I had done in my sketchbook as inspiration/reference. So a lot of the sketches, when I am putting them onto my watercolor paper, are just really very light, vague guides for myself. No big details are included at this point. I usually just work on those as I go. So last week I splurged on some new, to me, watercolor paints, and these ones are watercolors by Daniel Smith. I'd never used them before, and plenty of people had sort of recommended them to me because of the fun granulation and stuff that happens with them. So I grabbed a bunch of greens and some browns and stuff that I was kind of lacking in my watercolor kit at home. And this is a swatch page I did of them. There's a really big, like an hour and a half long video for my patrons coming out very soon of me going through all the art supplies that I bought that time and swatching them all. And with the watercolors, I have a really fun swatch party with it. But yeah, so really, really beautiful. I was really looking forward to using them in a final illustration. So it's also a little bit of a challenge because I only have a very limited color range that I purchased. So I was like, I'm gonna make an illustration, I'm gonna use only the colors that I bought. I'm not gonna bring any other colors from my other watercolors that I have, from my other watercolor kit. I'm just gonna purely use the Daniel Smith watercolors in this illustration. I wanted it to be really neutral, toned down, compared to what I usually do, which is extremely bright and vibrant. I did manage to have lots of brightness and vibrancy in this piece, but my original intention was to start off really neutral. So I used this really gorgeous, this is my favorite one I think that I bought out of the whole set. This is the Terre Verte green, and I used it as a light wash base layer of this illustration. So I just went through and I used a really watered down bunch of this Terre Verte watercolor from Daniel Smith, and just with a bunch of water vaguely followed the line work that I had given myself, used more water in some areas, less water in some areas, just to see what would happen, and let the granulation just do its thing. And there's some really beautiful textures in there, and like interesting color pops and color separation. There's some bits that are almost a bit golden, and then some bits that look a little bit more blue, and then there's even maybe like a pinch of pinkiness that comes through with the granulation of this color. Very, very, very subtle, but I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that. This is a really fun part for me, the really fun part of the process for me. I really like figuring out the silhouette this way. I think strong illustrations have really good silhouette, and I am someone who does love to add a lot of detail and kind of get a bit maximal with a lot of shapes and stuff. So as I was like putting down this base layer, I was thinking about how I can make sure that the silhouettes of my characters and stuff that is going on are sort of a bit more visually easy to read. Now I just want to break away for a second because I wanted to tell you that this is this month's Patreon reward and sticker. So for the month of September, if you become either an orange bird or a green bird member, you will get some goodies in the mail. The orange bird members get a double-sided mini print with the artwork on one side and then a sketchbook collage on the back, plus this vinyl sticker. And then the green bird tier members get a sticker. And I'm obsessed with this sticker. I drew this little bug in the main illustration and I thought he needed a bit of a spotlight for a while. So I took him into Photoshop and added a few more strawberries to his pile with the little hat on top. They are available and they will be sent to your letterbox with a great big kiss if you are an orange bird or green bird tier member anytime during September 2025. Thank you so much to my patrons for supporting me and just being the best ever. I should also say that my main shop, is currently closed to all people in the United States, unfortunately, just because of the confusion with the tariffs and all that kind of stuff going on. The Australia Post Company is actually restricting all parcels that are moving to the States from Australia. And because of these restrictions, I just found it easier, along with so many other small business owners in Australia and around the world, to close my shop to those of you, those wonderful people who are in the US. But luckily, letter mail is not affected. So if you are in the States, you can still get the Patreon mail because it just comes in a letter. It's very small, just a stamp. It's not tracked. It's just, unfortunately, all the bigger parcels are affected. You guys in the States, for the Patreon rewards, you are safe, and I am so glad that that is the case because I love sending these packages to everyone. And last month was actually my biggest month on Patreon. I had the most patrons I've ever had in my whole Patreon career. So I am like buzzing and eternally grateful to everyone who supports me that way. It's just, yeah, helps me to feed my dogs, feed myself, and make art, make content, make videos, all sorts of things. It's just the best. It's the best. I really, 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 really appreciate you all. So back to the process of the illustration. So once it dried, I mixed up a few of the other greens that I have and just started laying them down. And when I work with watercolor, I do a lot of layers, so I do take quite a long time when I'm working on my watercolors, or I'll work on a little patch and wait for that to dry and then move on to another patch while it's, while I'm waiting for it to dry, work on it, and then I go back and around because yeah, I really like layers and I really like nice clean colors. Sometimes I am more messy and wanting things to like bleed in and out of each other and do all these fun sort of things, but with the illustrations I'm maybe a little bit more careful with that sort of thing, which is why I like to let things dry out completely between layers. I should also backtrack a tiny bit. The reason that I liked putting down that terre verte, sort of nice, soft, sagey green as an underlayer is because when you put colors on top of it, it's almost like a glaze. It sort of pulls them back a bit, dulls them down a little bit, so it gives everything a lot more of an earthy tone, and everything is in a similar color family, I suppose. A lot of my application of colour does get a lot thicker as we go along, as my layers begin to build up and up and up. But generally everything looks like it's within the same colour family because the base layer is the same light green throughout it. Sometimes when I do other illustrations or landscapes or anything like that, I like to play with which colour base I choose to use. And sometimes it's really fun to choose colours that are really unnatural in the natural world when doing landscapes and stuff like that. Like a lot of them, I like to use a hot pink or a bright orange or like a fluoro green as a base colour. And a lot of that colour ends up being covered up, but you see hints of it coming through, and because it's the base layer, every colour has like an extra something to it so that they all connect, and it's just like a really juicy, fun way to add a little something to your landscapes and your paintings. Layering, that's what it's all about. I love layering and what layering does. So I have been practicing the guitar. I've been learning the guitar. I picked one up for the very, very, very first time back in March earlier this year. I got myself a little second-hand guitar from a garage sale, and it's the first time I'd ever held a guitar in my life. And I was like, I'm going to start a new hobby. I'm going to start learning a new thing. Because my problem is that painting and drawing and making art and drawing, all that kind of stuff is also my hobby. So I've been kind of struggling with that for a while now. I wanted to do something that I didn't feel like I had to put online sometimes. Like I wanted to learn a new skill and really, really actually start from scratch. And guitar was definitely that. I couldn't even move my fingers to make the chords. I had to physically move my fingers to get the chords at the very, very beginning. And now I'm feeling a lot more confident with my playing, and I can actually do bar chords now, which is very exciting. So yeah, it's been about 5 months, I think, since I started playing the guitar. So I wrote my little story to go with this illustration, and I tried to turn it into a little song using my guitar, which you heard a little bit of in the intro of this video. That was me playing the guitar and stuff. And now I'm I'm not confident at all with sharing any of my playing with anyone, let alone my singing. But I do sing a little bit. I put the little lyrics to some chords and stuff. And yeah, it's a bit scary to show you, but I'll have it on in the background a little bit here and there, and maybe in the outro there'll be another little bit of song for you to listen to. But let me read the story for you anyway. It's very rhymey, very songy, very, I'm not a writer. I'm not a writer by any means, but I had a lot of fun with this and coming up with some cute little rhyming moments and imagery and stuff. Anyway, I'm going to stop giving myself excuses now. Here we go. It's called The Strawberry Journey. All right. I've patched up my walnut shell with nettle thread and string. I marched out past the wishing well through the dew-soaked fields of spring. I set out walking at the break of day. The morning light was gold. My boots are worn but steady still, though the path is cracked and old. Strawberry journey, sweet and slow, each berry gathered is a love I sow. I've been travelling the whole day long, singing soft my wandering song. On the road I met my neighbours, tin can drums and whistle reeds. The hoppers fiddle a gentle tune, while fireflies hum a lazy croon. We walk and sing through dusty miles, tiny steps with rhymes and smiles. The bridge of sticks appear at last, the strawberry path lay just beyond. But as our band began to go, the clouds began to roll, the river swelled, the waters raged, the bridge was swept away. Our baskets and our banjos too were tumbled in the spray. We thought of turning back again, but walked a little more, hearts sore. Through rain and thunder drumming loud, we plucked and played, we stood unbowed. The road may break, may bend, may stray, but love will guide and feet will stay. Strawberry journey, sweet and slow, each berry gathered is a love I sow. I've been travelling the whole day long, singing soft my wandering song. And there we found a fallen tree, a willow stretched across the tide. Its branches bowed, its roots held firm, a gentle bridge for us to stride. We held our baskets, held our strings, though tumbled all was near. With steady steps we crossed the flow and left behind our fear. The storm gave way to sunlight clear, our lungs were filled with meadow air. And just before us, bright and red, the strawberries waited, rich and fair. We bent together, sweet and slow, each berry shining fresh with dew. Their perfume drifted through the fields, a gift of spring both wild and true. I stopped to rest and strum a tune, the mandolin upon my knee. My friends joined in with fiddles light, with whistles, flutes and harmony. We played until the shadows fell, the hills around us soft and wide. The music lingered on the breeze like fireflies at evening tide. The sun spilled gold on the river bend, and dragonflies kept time in flight. Each step we took, a story told, each breath became a rhyme. I carried treasures, gathered kind, though shoes were torn and journey worn. I poured the berries on the table and found you smiling at the door. Strawberry journey, sweet and slow, each berry gathered is a love I sow. I've been travelling the whole day long, singing soft my wandering song. So patch your boots and take your time, the sweetest roads are the winding kind, and at the end what you will find, a strawberry bounty and love so kind. There we go. There's my little poem. I wrote it to be kind of like one of those epic ballads, very Bob Dylan or Arlo Guthrie-esque, I suppose. But yeah, I'm definitely not a poet. I'm not a wordsmith. so some of those rhymes I feel like are pretty lame, but it's in general just like me trying out a thing and trying to make a cute little story. So yeah. And I put some guitar to it as well, which was fun. It's definitely a very, very brand new infantile venture for me, this guitar and putting like little words that I write to the guitar. So if that made you cringe in an incredible amount, I'm really sorry. It makes me cringe, but I'm doing the brave thing and sharing those with you. I'm just slowly building up different layers here and there. What I really liked about the Daniel Smith watercolors is that you can reactivate them with water like you can with any watercolors, but not in a huge way. I felt like if I was painting one color next to another color which is completely dry, it didn't activate necessarily the color next to it, whereas some of the other brands do. So it made my time with this illustration much easier because I was able to do lots of layers and get up close to the next color and it not sort of get all messy and bleedy and stuff. Really appreciated that. At this point it started getting a bit too dark. I had lost the light of the day, so I packed up for the day. And the next morning I continued on in the fresh light of the day. The paintbrush I use, by the way, I'm not someone who really spends much time getting paintbrushes or using paintbrushes that are really fancy or really nice quality, or I don't spend much time thinking about paintbrushes. As long as they're soft synthetic brushes with this nice rounded tip, I'm more than happy. So this brand that I'm using for this illustration is, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, is Sophie, which I really love using their paintbrushes. I think they're really nice, and plus the paintbrush itself looks cute. It's pink and it has a nice way, like a nice handle and stuff like that. So that's the paintbrush I'm using. But yeah, again, I'm really not fussy about paintbrushes. I just love to find some that are on special or, you know, discontinued or whatever, real cheap. Not fussy at all, as long as it's synthetic and it's a soft one. They'll usually say watercolor paintbrushes or ink paintbrushes or whatever. Yeah, that's the one I'm using. I just had such a nice time painting this piece. I've been working really hard lately and doing a lot of admin stuff and a lot of editing and just like a lot of work on the computer, and I've been quite stressed before I was making this illustration, so sitting down and actually purposefully only painting and going slow and being thoughtful was just such a needed reset and refresh for me. And playing with new art supplies, art mediums, new watercolors, just my idea of a good time. I had so many cup of teas. So yeah, this is the end. This is my final illustration. I hope you really like it. It's very cute. I am exceedingly excited to get these in mini double-sided print form and sticker form to send out to all of those patrons who sign up this month. Yeah, good. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here if you made it right to the end. I adore your face. You're very cute and very nice and very supportive. You're wonderful. Okay, I'll see you next time. Tooroo!